thank you for taking your very precious time to be amongst us this afternoon. Especially, I'd like to offer my gratitude to a few of our very special guests. We have back with us Yadubar Prabhu. Yadubar Prabhu, along with his good wife, Vishaka Devi Mataji. Very close, loving associates of our beloved Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Yadubar Prabhu was a freelance movie maker, making documentaries, as well as, yes? As well as photos. And he took an assignment to do a photo essay on Hare Krishna devotees in New Brindavan, New York, Los Angeles. And the association of devotees was so sweet to his heart that he went to India to a documentary on Srila Prabhupada. And his life was never the same since then. By Prabhupada's inspiration, he not only gave his life and soul to the loving service of the Lord, but he has presented to the world historical documentaries on Vrindavan, New Brindavan, various philosophical documentaries revealing the science of the soul. He did documentary on the world of all the different centers and projects of the Krishna consciousness movement, and especially your ever well-wisher, the life story of Srila Prabhupada, our Gurudev. And now Yadubar Prabhu is seriously considering making an eastern branch of his project in Bombay, intimately connected to Sri Radha Gopinath Temple. So if we're nice to him and appreciate him nicely, he may actually make that decision. Let us very enthusiastically welcome Yadubar Prabhu. We also have Kratu Prabhu. Kratu Prabhu is disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who has been serving for well over 30 years. Very humble, gentle, and dedicated person, very learned. He was for years temple president of New Delhi and has taken immense responsibilities. And he's a very dear friend. We're so grateful that you have come. Let us welcome Kratu Prabhu. Can you please stand up for a moment? Please, for one moment. Thank you. And we also have our dear friend Vinik Narayan Prabhu, who is quite famous throughout the land of India for restoring morality, ethics, and justice, even on the highest levels of society, through his journalism and his fearless determination. And he's been very lovingly associated with Srila Prabhupada and his devotees for many years. And now he is very intimately connected with Man Mandir in Barsana, Brajbhumi, and he's fearlessly giving his life and soul to preserve and protect the holy places of Sri Vrindavan Dham, which is a great challenge. In fact, at the present time, the beautiful sacred hills of Kamyavan, where Krishna has performed his Leela with Sri Radha and gopis, are being destroyed by greedy people with dynamite to sell the rocks. And he's on a campaign to save these holy places of Kamyavan. It's not an easy thing. He's working on the Supreme Court level, and sometime later we'll inform you how you can participate and help if you so desire. Can you stand up for a moment? Narayan, please. Let us very enthusiastically welcome him to Sri Radha. And of course, we have Trinakarta Prabhu, but he's a resident, so there's no need for formalities anymore. We are grateful to see you. And we have my childhood lifelong friend, Gary, who has come for the first time to Radha Gopinath's Sunday Festival. We've known each other since the 1950s. I'd say we have been very, very close friends for over 40 years. We grew up together. For those of you who were at that nice program a couple weeks ago, we told some little summary of incidents within our relationship. But I can say that to remain such loving friends with someone for so many long years, with so much appreciation, gratitude, even though somewhat different ways of life, is something very special. Gary is always my very affectionate well-wisher, and today he's even wearing dhoti and kurta. But it's not the first time, because in 1971, for 1 year, he lived as a sadhu, traveling through the Himalayas, living in mountaintops and under trees. And this evening, he's leaving back for America. It's the first time he's been to India in 33 years. So we're very, very grateful that you are here, Gary. Please stand up. Much louder, please. Thank you very much. Vrindavan is the land of the most intensified, purest, unconditional love. Love is the intrinsic, fundamental need of every living being. And there are different levels in which one can experience and taste the happiness of love. On the bodily platform of life, forgetting the eternal nature of the soul, there is love amongst family members, or love that is based on the passion or the attraction between two human beings, or love amongst friends. But this affection is tainted to various degrees with the selfish conception of how will I enjoy from this situation. To the degree the affection between two persons is unconditional, it satisfies the heart. Actual love is on the basis of truth. This body is a temporary vehicle. We are the eternal souls. To recognize our own soul as our true self, and to recognize the spirit within others, that interaction of love is true. And it is eternal. In Vaikuntha, there is the recognition of the Almighty, Absolute Truth, Narayan, as God. And various levels of that conception are understood in religions throughout the world. God is the Almighty, the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of everything that exists, who is all beautiful, who has all six opulences: beauty, knowledge, strength, wealth, fame, and renunciation, in full. In the spiritual world, the love of the soul for God and for all parts and parcels of God is the eternal reality. The Holy Scriptures explain to us that there are different platforms of realization even in the spiritual world. The highest platform is Goloka, which is the abode of Sri Krishna. The one supreme God who manifests in many, many different ways to reciprocate with the affection of his devotees. In his original, complete form, resides as Govinda. And the nature of the love in Vrindavan is, although people have completely realized the supremacy of Krishna, the intimacy of affection they feel due to his charming personality, his beautiful features, his most enamoring pastimes, is that intimacy covers the majestic awareness of his supremacy. And thus they love Krishna as a friend loves a friend, but with intimate, unconditional desire to serve him and to please him. Or a parent to a child, or a lover to the beloved. So yes, the Holy Scriptures explain to us that this is the ultimate development of prema, or ecstatic spiritual love, which is residing eternally in the hearts of the Brijavasis, and especially the gopis of Vrindavan. When you want nothing for yourself, you get everything. When you want for yourself, ultimately, you lose everything. When we have selfish desires, we are bound to this bodily conception of life, and ultimately, by the power of time, we lose everything. But when we want nothing for ourselves, when we want everything for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and his devotees, then Krishna gives us himself. He is Bhakta Vatsal. He surrenders himself to the heart of those who surrender to him. That is reciprocation. He is the Almighty. Kunti Devi, she was pondering on this inconceivable reality. Even fear personified is afraid of Krishna. Even the greatest warriors, the greatest heroes, the greatest conquerors throughout history are belittled into dust by the power of time, which is just an insignificant energy of Krishna. But Yashoda Mai, who's just a simple lady, she is tying Krishna with a rope, and Krishna is weeping and crying, begging her for mercy. How is that possible? And Krishna tells gopis, because you have forsaken everything, just to serve me, to please me, I have no power to repay you. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna is the proprietor of everything that exists. All material and all spiritual worlds are the property of God. Within this world, we can claim proprietorship, but our claim is very shallow, because proprietorship really means control. And ultimately, what do we control? Our own bodies. They get sick. They get old. We don't want that to happen, but it's happening. And ultimately, we have to give it up at death. So is this my body? This body is the property of material nature. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. And Krishna tells in Gita, I am the controller of material nature. And whatever we have. You see, people like to divide God's earth up in various ways. And it's always changing. We may think it's stable for a few hundred, maybe 1,000 years, but it changes. India, how many changes this has gone through as far as people claiming proprietorship. At one time it was the Aryans. Then the Mughals came and conquered and said this land is ours. Then the British kicked them out and said this land is ours. And then Mahatma Gandhi and Subhash Chandra Bose and other such personalities kicked the British out, and now we're saying it is ours. But what tomorrow brings, we do not know. United States of America was the property of the Native American Indians. And then the Spanish claimed this is ours. Then the British kicked them out and claimed that this is ours. We also had that British problem. And then there was a Revolutionary War, and now it's ours. And it's only been a couple hundred years. But 10,000 years from now, who knows who will claim proprietorship to these places? It's God's property. He has created, He is maintaining. So many problems in the world when we create so many divisions based on external designations and egoism. But Krishna simply informs us in Gita, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I am the proprietor of all spiritual and material worlds and everything in it. Recently, someone was telling that an antagonist approached one devotee and said, why is Krishna so egoistic? Why in Gita he's saying, I am the creator, I am the proprietor, I am the supreme, I am the taste and water, I am the light of the sun and the moon, I am the sacred syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. Of fish I am the shark, of bowmen I am Arjuna, of mountains I am Sumeru. Why Krishna talks so high of himself? He should be humble. So this devotee asked the gentleman, where do you work? So he was told to name some industrial company. He said, what is your position? He said, I am a CEO, Chief Executive Officer. He said, why don't you say you're a peon? He said, because if I said I was a peon, I would be lying. I'm not. He said, why are you so proud? You're saying you're CEO. He said, no, I'm not proud. I'm just, if I say anything else, I'm lying to you. I'm just telling you the truth. He said, well, that's all Krishna's doing. What is he supposed to say? He's simply explaining the truth. He is the controller, the maintainer of everything. And he's the ultimate object of everyone's love. And if he doesn't reveal that, then we won't have a chance to love him, which is our true nature. Forgetful of our relationship with Krishna is like a fish trying to enjoy out of the ocean, laying in the sand. So many arrangements could be made, but the fish cannot enjoy in an artificial environment. Must be put back in the ocean. It is that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that nectarine ocean of divine love that is our nature. To know God, to love God. But on the sandy ground of illusion, we're trying to find happiness through so many articles and so many relationships. And some little happiness is there. But unless we return to our natural, original condition, which is spiritual, it's temporary and limited. So Krishna is the proprietor of everything that exists forever. And he tells gopis that your love for me is so pure. Your selfless willingness to please me is so great. You've given up everything without the slightest consideration of your own well-being, of your own needs, of your own wants. You've given up everything only for me. Therefore, even in an entire lifetime of Brahma, which happens to be 311 trillion years, even in an entire lifetime of Brahma, with all that I have and all that I am, I have no power to repay you. Therefore, I remain subordinate to your love. Please be happy with that. That is the supreme glory of the Absolute Truth, that he is conquered by love, not conquered by power or knowledge. Because who are gopis? They're most simple. They're young girls, teenage girls. That's who gopis are. Teenage girls. Some of them even not even teenage. And they have conquered God. That is Vrindavan. Madhurya Dham, the land of supreme sweetness. So it is that unconditional loving service that we should strive for. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed, Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam vajagatisha kamaye. Mama janmani janmanishwari bhavatad bhakti rahoita kitvai. My Lord, I do not want wealth. I do not want the association of beautiful ladies. I do not want to become a great famous scholar of poetry and academics. I do not want followers and fame and prestige. I do not even want liberation from suffering, mukti. I have no interest in salvation. I only want to serve you with love, birth after birth after birth, unconditionally. That is the only perfect state of consciousness. Narayana para sarve nakutashtina vidyate swarakapavaraka narakeshu api tulyata darshana. That a great devotee of the Lord Shiva has said this about Chitraketu Maharaj. A great devotee of the Lord is always peaceful. Because a great devotee of the Lord has unconditional loving service toward the Lord and all living beings. Whether he's in heaven or whether he's in hell really makes no difference. As long as he can remember Krishna and serve Krishna. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prasantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Even millions of people who have attained mukti or liberation, and millions of people who have attained mystic powers, the siddhis, mystic perfections of yoga, they cannot find real peace. Only the pure, unalloyed, unconditional devotee of Narayan experiences that peace, because they are in their natural position of unconditional love. And that is the purpose of human life. Gratitude and determination to carry on is one of the most important qualities required to chant God's name, to serve the Lord, and actually attain that state. Maharaj Pariksit, what was his condition? He made a small mistake, and he was cursed to die in 7 days by a small child. Now Pariksit Maharaj happened to be the king. He was the emperor of all the land. He had a fantastic palace. He had incredible physical strength. He had massive military. He controlled the treasury. He had all power. And a little Brahmin boy named Shringi curses him to die in 7 days for a small mistake. Now, usually big people in very high positions, they become very intolerant if someone crosses their will. But Pariksit Maharaj, he did not retaliate. He could have crushed that little boy in a second with his military, with his own hands. When he saw Kali beating a cow, Pariksit Maharaj put his life on the line with the sword to protect the innocent cow. He would give his life to protect anyone, even an insect, from injustice. But when the 7-day notice of death came upon him, he saw it as the will of God. He was grateful to the Brahmin boy, Shringi. He saw him as an instrument of God's love. And therefore he went to the bank of the holy river Ganges, or Ganga, and there he made a vow to fast till death in the association of saintly persons, hearing and chanting the Lord's glories. He had a grateful heart. He wasn't criticizing anyone. He wasn't making excuses. What was he doing? I am very fallen and lowly. He actually took shelter in a sense of real urgency of the great saints and begged them, please tell me, what is the essence of all religions? What is the real purpose of human life? And what is the prime duty of a person who is about to die, which happens to include everyone? And with tears of affection and a heart full of eagerness, he sat and listened to Shukadev Goswami. And because of his grateful heart, Sukadev Goswami revealed to Maharaj Pariksit the highest secrets of all knowledge. He spoke Srimad Bhagavatam, which culminated in 10th canto of Krishna and Radharani's Leelas. But that was his qualification. Within Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many stories, but every story teaches only this one subject: pure unalloyed devotion to the Supreme. Such histories are unparalleled. There is a story of Draupadi. Draupadi was the wife of Pandavas. And she was married to the 5 Pandavas. Ashwatthama, the son of Drona, ruthlessly murdered all her 5 sons. Now, for those of you who are mothers, you will be very sympathetic. She had 5 teenage sons, and they were all murdered. And now, she was motherless. She had no children. So Arjuna went and he apprehended Ashwatthama after a very, very incredible fight, and brought Ashwatthama tied up and threw him down at the feet of Draupadi. And Bhima, Arjuna's elder brother, who is a Kshatriya, ordered Arjuna, kill him now, he deserves to die. Because one of his sons died too. In fact, but Draupadi, she said, no, you should not harm him. Huh? She said, let him go. Let him be free. How is this possible? And then she explained why. Because I'm a mother, and I know what terrible suffering it is to have lost all children. Aswatthama has a mother, and he is her only child. She is a noble, respectable woman, the wife of your teacher. She should not suffer like me. Now, in the egoistic sense, misery always wants company. Have you ever met anyone like this? Perhaps if you look in the mirror, you may find someone. But when we're suffering, we like to just reveal our mind and make other people miserable. That's human nature. Sometimes we just don't like to see other people happy when we're suffering. We have to share the misery with others. That's our charity. But here Draupadi was suffering worse than anybody could imagine. But she did not want anyone to have to suffer. Kripi is a respectable lady. Aswatthama is a murderer. But his mother should not suffer. Let him go. So Arjuna was in a very difficult situation. Sometimes this happens. There's 2 great saintly persons, his brother and his wife. And his brother, and you know who Bhima is. Nobody wants to disagree with Bhima. He's saying, kill him, kill him. And the wife is saying, set him free. And they're both right. Bhima's seeing from the perspective of a military person.